You should be catching my voice now. The time currently is 3:31 in the morning, Saturday, the 27th of June. And the reason I know that date so vividly, without checking a calendar, is because yesterday on Friday, it was supposed to be the last day of school. And two big things were in the way. One, a pandemic that made the last day of school actually happen a long time ago, which has been hard to accept, but at this point, it's the only way to live now. And two, I missed the online meeting for it. I woke up to a text message from the teacher. They said good morning and please, log into class. And I wasn't there. I woke up when class would have ended, and I didn't turn on my laptop. I haven't turned on my laptop in a week or so. I'm gonna need to, because, I need to see how diplomas and, you know, certificates, accomplishments, and all that are going to be administered to us, but for the time being, I just wasn't there. And with that, I mean, school is basically over for me. School and me are a weird story, man. I'm one of those people where the only thing stopping me from succeeding in school was myself. And that can be chalked up to a myriad of reasons because I wasn't a bad student. In fact, I was in one way. Um, I was a bad student in the sense that I never pushed myself. Never. Never. Never pushed myself, even in my favorite subject, ELA. Funny enough, ELA was my weakest subject of my final year of school. ELA was my lowest grade in senior year, even though ELA still remains my favorite subject. The lack of commitment, it can be chalked up to a myriad of things, such as, prior experiences in school. Like, how many times have I mentioned that middle school just really crippled education for me? It could also be chalked up to what you're seeing here. Me always playing games. And I'll say with certainty that there have been thousands of times in my life where I could have been doing something more productive than playing a video game, but that's just kind of how I chose to do things. I don't leave with any phone numbers. No real connections. It's a tragedy. I feel one of the worst things about our human engineering is the fact that we take things for granted until something really bad happens. When you lose someone, you realize how much you loved them. In this case, when school was over, which was a long time ago, because online classes can barely be considered a school experience, you had to come to terms with the fact that, pardon me, you have to come to terms with the fact that that last chance to link up with a lot of people, it's gone. Not like it's your fault, but I said, what's done is done, and you have to move on. It's a shame because, you know, I really miss a lot of people from school. And I'm sure they'll try to do a. No, in fact, I know already that they're trying to do a get together of sorts. I don't know if I would call it homecoming because, frankly, I don't really know what homecoming is. Isn't that, when people are done with high school and then they come back, all the high school friends and teachers and whatnot kind of meet up again post high school? I think that's what homecoming is. But I said I don't know. I've never been into, school spirit, school pride, extracurricular activities, hanging out with friends. I've only had one friend in my life visit my house, and this was in middle school. I don't know where that person is anymore. In high school, all my connections were made, and they were made and kind of blossomed within the institution, within the building. After school, nothing, nothing with the people that I I rocked out with at school. I said I'm not really a social media person, so I never had the things that they were using like Snapchat. All I have is Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit. I don't even have Instagram. And I never linked up with someone after school. I don't know what that experience is like to hang out with friends after school. I've I never indulged in it, and I've now that's missed. That's something I won't be able to experience. When I feel it that anytime I'm gonna think of school, it's always gonna be sad, which sucks because as said, I'm someone who could have done so much better in school, and I say this with full knowledge of that, and everyone knows that. Everyone that's known me in school, from teachers, parents, friends, but I never pushed myself in school, and I couldn't tell you exactly why, but I can accept. I won't deny anything, and I think that's important because I think that adds on to living with regrets. And despite all these sad things I might be saying, I don't regret any of it. I don't regret how I went through school. Would I have done things differently, looking back on it? Probably not, because that means I wouldn't have went through experiences that I've experienced in this form. But I don't want to talk about multiverse and stuff and what ifs. I just like to reflect. No one to talk to from the school. It's a shame. It is a shame. I don't know any of my teachers really, as people. Although that's something my school really tried to do. Really separate that divide between students and teachers, and it did a good job. But I never took advantage of systems like that. And now I have to live with that as a high school graduate. School. I'll tell you what. I'm one of those people that is like, I don't like school. I like education. But there's something about the human experience at school that is something magical, and it's an opportunity that a lot of people won't get many times in their life. Not all of us finish school, And I think I definitely squandered that experience. I said I don't have any connections, no numbers, no emails. The only emails I have are school emails, which, will be defunct once we're all said and done. As we have school, the laptops we have used for 4 years are owned by the school. So I kind of just left with myself and my thoughts. And it is a shame. It is a crying shame. But as said, I have to come to terms with it. I know a lot of times I'll be talking about absolutely nothing, but there's not a lot of opportunities I get to do this. I had tried making a journal, which I did. I was doing a good job on. Ran through 2 entire notebooks, but then the third one I kind of just stopped. It started before the pandemic started. I kind of just stopped updating it. And I always say to myself I should go back and, start it up again, but, in true procrastinator's fashion, those are just words. There's always the next day, And I still haven't gotten started on it. So the only chances I really have to speak what I'm thinking is just here. I don't really express my feelings to anyone else, which is a problem of mine. That's something I should do, but I feel as though I don't want to be a burden by doing it. And so I leave my thoughts to myself, and I leave my sadness to myself. Although I might seem like a very happy person, I do harbor a lot of sadness. Especially recently, with how things have progressed. But hey, I made my bed, and you know what comes next. I gotta lay in it. So, school is over, and I had many opportunities to make it great, and I didn't. And now here we are. I'm going to be a high school graduate who wants to move into the world immediately, skipping the college process, and I'll be doing it on my lonesome. Of course, there will be people in the fam and some small connections I've made, like ones at my prior job, but like most things I've done in my life, it'll be a lone journey. You know, from elementary to middle school, it wasn't as bad because all of us, we basically all went to the same middle school, but from middle school to high school, when I went to high school, I was the only person I recognized. I knew no one there. And I think I did a good job, you know, in terms of making connections, but a lot of that was due to how the school was built. It was a very good system to make connections happen. And I am honored to be part of the first graduating class of a school. That's not something everyone can say. But I don't just think of it as an achievement, I think of it as, you know, what I'm leaving behind. I always thought, looking back, when I used to think about my graduation, I always wanted it to seem like I was that student that was laid back, you know, seemed to not really stress about things, went home and chilled rather than slaved away studying and doing homework, and, you know, succeeded. And in a sense, that's kind of how it was. I succeeded, albeit with the barest minimum in terms of GPA. I'll remind you, I graduate with a 3.03. And I did graduate, I did succeed, but not with flying colors, because I never pushed myself. And I should have. I could have. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But at this point, I'd be talking in circles, so I don't want to do that. I would like to just conclude this. I've used up my chance to talk. I'm going to get rid of this tongue with teeth, and then bounce out with that fofo. I was especially pissy today, because while doing activities, that was just kind of what was lingering in my mind, that today was the last day of everything, and it's not at all anything special. It's just another hot summer day at the end of the school year. That's just how my life has always been, regarding real achievements and accomplishments, which is really all in school, right? It's always been dull. I've always valued having fun more than getting the real things done, which needs to change. And it's gonna change. That's all for today's sermon. Thanks a bunch for listening.